The rain fell in a steady gray curtain against the glass, blurring the glittering city lights of downtown Chicago into smears of gold. Inside the penthouse apartment, silence reigned, broken only by the soft hum of the climate control. Sebastian Vance stood at the floor-to-ceiling window, his reflection a sharp silhouette against the storm. He didn't see the city. His focus was inward, on the hollow echo of a voice that was no longer his own, whispering directives that now felt foreign. A memory surfaced, not his own yet etched into his bones. A cluttered, airless apartment smelling of stale beer and defeat, and a boy, a shadow in the corner. That boy was supposed to be his burden, his ticket back to a life of unimaginable wealth. The voice, the system, had been very clear. Corrupt him, break him, ensure the bitter seed within him grows into a twisted, vengeful tree. Then die by his hand and go home. Sebastian's lips curved, a gesture devoid of warmth. The system had miscalculated. It described a life of isolation, a soul tempered in loneliness, a guardian who was a predator in disguise. It presented the boy as a means to an end. Sebastian saw something else entirely. Possession, unclaimed, unwanted, perfectly, irrevocably his. So he's mine, he had thought, and felt the system's logic stutter and skip like a corrupted file. That is one interpretation. The parking lot of Oak Ridge Preparatory Academy was a sea of expensive vehicles under a crisp autumn sky. Students spilled out, laughter bouncing off concrete. Two stood out near the gates. A boy with the easy, sun-kissed grin of the perpetually fortunate, and a girl whose smile was a radiant, uncomplicated thing. A storybook scene. A sleek, black SUV pulled up. The boy, with a final, teasing remark, climbed in. The girl turned, her expression softening as she jogged toward a waiting woman, presumably her mother, and they walked away, heads bent together in conversation. No one glanced toward the alcove near the bike racks. A boy lingered there, leaning against the brick as if hoping it would absorb him. He was all sharp angles and faded denim, his posture defensive. His hair, dark and damp-looking, fell across his forehead, but it couldn't hide the stark, hungry look in his eyes as he watched the departing SUV. It wasn't malice. It was a raw, aching want, so potent it was painful to witness. He looked like someone who had pressed his nose against the glass of a life that was not, and would never be, his own. Sebastian watched from the idling sedan, a faint, unkind amusement touching his eyes. Like a stray cat, he mused, watching a family eat dinner through a window. The system's voice chimed, sterile and prompt. Your objective remains. Fulfill the original host's role. Antagonize, alienate, create the conditions for his future vindictiveness. Upon your canonical demise at his directive, repatriation to your world and assets will be processed. And if I find this task unappealing, failure to comply results in permanent residency within this narrative framework. No punitive physical measures are employed. Your sentence is simply a life lived here. Sebastian's smile widened, a genuine flash of teeth. Then consider me a permanent resident. I'm not going back. The system's protest was a static buzz he easily tuned out. He tapped the horn, a short, imperious sound. The boy by the bricks flinched, his head snapping around. His expression, upon recognizing the car, tightened into a mask of wary contempt. He didn't move. Sebastian rolled down the passenger window. Lucas, get in. Lucas Reed stared, his jaw working silently. After a prolonged moment, he pushed off the wall and approached with deliberate slowness, sliding into the back seat, putting as much distance as possible between them. Front seat, Sebastian instructed, not looking back. Why? The word was ground out, laced with a suspicion so deep it was a fundamental part of the boy's composition. Sebastian finally glanced at him in the rearview mirror. Because I said so. And if I truly intended you harm, you being in the back seat wouldn't stop me. Lucas held his gaze for a beat, then reluctantly complied, his body rigid. The The silence in the car was thick. Sebastian navigated toward the commercial district, his mind sorting through the financial wreckage he'd inherited. The life insurance money from Lucas's parents, a substantial sum, was nearly gone, gambled and drank away by the man whose body he now wore. Only a recent tuition disbursement, locked in a trust, remained untouched. A little over $100,000 total. Pittance, but a workable foundation. He observed the boy beside him. His hair was not just long, it was plastered unpleasantly to his scalp. "You'll get that mess cut off," he stated. No response. Lucas stared straight ahead, a statue of resentment. Sebastian's patience, never abundant, frayed. "Did the princelings at your fancy school use you as a mop again?" More silence. A familiar, cold anger stirred in Sebastian's gut. "If you don't start using your words, I will open this door and push you into oncoming traffic." Lucas jerked, a flicker of genuine fear crossing his face before it shuddered again. He slumped against the seat, his voice flat and dead. "Then do it. Maybe you'd be doing me a favor." "Pathetic," Sebastian muttered, almost fondly. To the system, he remarked, he lacks conviction. A proper villain embraces the will to live, if only to see his enemies burn. "I had my stepfather chemically paralyzed before I disassembled him. He watched every moment." "What did you say?" Lucas's voice was sharp, tense. The boy had an almost preternatural sensitivity to menace, his survival instincts honed to a fine edge. He was staring now, coiled like a spring. Sebastian dismissed the memory, pulling into the parking lot of an upscale shopping center. A haircut, then dinner. "You need clothes that don't look like they were salvaged from a dumpster." "Why?" Lucas demanded, his eyes narrow. "You found a buyer?" Sebastian gave a non-committal shrug. "Assume whatever you like." The sterile, one-bedroom apartment was a monument to neglect. Sebastian took one look at the stained carpet and the single dismal bedroom and turned on his heel. "Grab what you can't live without. We're not staying here." They spent that night in a hotel suite. Lucas moved through the opulent rooms like a hostage waiting for the other shoe to drop, interpreting every unexpected kindness as the prelude to a greater cruelty. The next day, Sebastian leased a bright, modern two-bedroom condo in a secure building near the lake. He hired a housekeeper to manage meals and cleaning. Lucas finally broke his suspicious silence that evening. "The payment. Is it up front? Before delivery?" Sebastian looked up from his laptop, a slow smile spreading. "I'm not selling you, Lucas. I've decided to keep you. An investment. When you're older and inevitably successful, you can repay my generosity." The boy's laugh was a short, bitter sound. "If I'm ever successful, the first thing I'll do is ruin you. I look forward to the attempt." Lucas fell silent, studying him with an intensity that was calculating, not fearful. Sebastian didn't bother to conceal the shift in his personality. A mind as sharp and paranoid as Lucas's would have already noted the change. The boy, however, seemed to have made a pragmatic decision. A benefactor, however inexplicable, was preferable to a tormentor. He would accept the mystery as long as the results were advantageous. Sebastian buried himself in work. With the remaining capital, he began weaving a network of contacts and opportunities. His mind, built for corporate warfare in another life, adapted swiftly. A year passed in a blur of strategy and expansion. He thought of Lucas rarely, assuming the boy was managing his own life. Returning to the condo after a month-long absence, he was momentarily brought up short. A young man sat on the sofa, bathed in the late afternoon light. He was tall, his earlier gauntness replaced by a lean, wiry strength. His face, once pale and shadowed, had color and definition. The angry, neglected stray had been transformed into something striking. "Can I help you?" Sebastian asked, dropping his keys on the entry table. The young man shot him a look of pure disdain. "What, did your crores finally knock some sense loose? Or just your memory?" The familiar, defensive sarcasm was a touchstone. Sebastian grinned, crossing the room. He reached out and pinched Lucas's cheek. Hard. You've filled out. The housekeeper's cooking agrees with you. Lucas flinched, swatting his hand away, a flash of real anger in his eyes. Sebastian's own competitive spirit ignited. He grabbed the boy's wrist, and a brief, inelegant struggle ensued, ending with Sebastian pinning him face down into the plush cushions of the sofa. Lucas's ears and the back of his neck were flushed a deep, furious red, the color disappearing beneath the collar of his shirt. Sebastian felt a sudden, unwelcome tightness in his jaw, a visceral reaction to the heat and frustration radiating from the body beneath him. Still weak, he taunted, his voice lower than intended. "Get off me, Sebastian." Lucas snarled, the name a weapon. Sebastian released him, stepping back to appreciate the full picture of his rage. "No respect for your elders, I see. You are not my family," Lucas shouted, storming into his room and slamming the door with enough force to shake the wall. The incident with the golden children, Chloe and Ryan, happened several months later. Lucas came home late, his knuckles scraped, a bruise blooming on his cheekbone, his mood a thundercloud. "Get into a fight?" Sebastian inquired from the dining table, not looking up from his tablet. "None of your business." The bedroom door slammed again. Not long after, the doorbell chimed. A girl with a nervously bright smile stood on the doorstep. "Hi, is Lucas here?" It was Chloe, the heroine. Her apology was a rushed, fluttering thing. A misunderstanding, some local troublemakers, Lucas trying to help, and Ryan, her fiercely protective boyfriend, arriving at the wrong moment. Before she could finish, a new voice, loud and aggrieved, sounded from the hallway. "Chloe, are you insane, coming here alone?" Ryan Dawson filled the doorway, all entitled outrage and varsity jacket confidence. His apology, demanded by Chloe, was a perfunctory grunt. His real attention was on Lucas, who had emerged from his room, a silent, seething presence. "I saw you with your hands on her," Ryan accused, his tone dripping with contempt. "You saw wrong," Lucas said, each word clipped. "Yeah, right. Everyone knows you skulk around watching her. You think you're some kind of tragic hero?" The exchange was juvenile, predictable. Sebastian remained in his chair, an observer. But then it escalated. A shove, curse, and they were brawling in the middle of his living room. Lucas fought with a feral, desperate ferocity, but Ryan was bigger, stronger, trained. He landed a clean kick that sent Lucas crashing into the glass coffee table, where he lay winded, pain stark on his face. Ryan, finally noticing Sebastian, had the grace to look startled. "Who are you?" "I'm his guardian," Sebastian said, his voice dangerously pleasant. He rose and crossed the room in a few swift strides. Before Ryan could react, Sebastian's hand was tangled in his perfectly styled hair, yanking his head sideways and smashing his face into the wall. Once, twice, Chloe screamed. Ryan tried to struggle, but Sebastian drove a knee into his ribs, dropping him to the floor. "You come into my home," Sebastian said, his voice still that same mild tone, "and assault the person under my protection? Are you profoundly stupid, or do you have a death wish?" Ryan, gasping, was a quick study in the face of superior force.
"I'm sorry."
Sebastian hauled him up by the collar and threw him toward Lucas. "Your apology is for him." A mumbled, scarlet-faced apology followed. Sebastian looked at Lucas, still on the floor. "Do you accept?" Lucas, after a heavy pause, shook his head once. "He doesn't accept. You may leave now." After they had fled, Sebastian lit a cigarette. "Useless," he pronounced, looking at Lucas's bruised form. "I'm enrolling you in a martial arts program." Lucas, clutching his side, finally spoke. "You shouldn't have done that. His family, they're connected. They'll come for you. Let them. You don't understand. They have power. And we will have more," Sebastian said simply, fetching the first aid kit. "Now let me see the damage." Years unfolded. Sebastian's venture capital firm stabilized, then thrived. Lucas graduated high school, a silent, brooding figure amidst the celebrating families. Sebastian waited down the block, then stepped out and handed him a simple bouquet of white calla lilies. Congratulations. Onward. Lucas took the flowers with a scoff, but held them carefully on the drive to the celebratory dinner. He picked the rosemary garnish off his steak with fastidious care. You're a fussy eater, Sebastian observed. You're one to talk. The coffee has to be a specific temperature, the eggs can't be runny but can't be rubber, and God forbid there's a hint of cilantro in anything. You've been paying attention. Lucas's ears pinked. Hard not to notice when someone's that difficult. He expressed a desire to work, to learn before college. Sebastian brought him into the firm. The boy's aptitude was frightening. He absorbed complex financial models and market analyses with unnerving speed. At a business dinner, a female associate, elegant and ambitious, made her interest in Sebastian unmistakable. Lucas, seated beside him, spent the evening radiating a chill that could freeze water. Afterward, in the car, Sebastian reached over and tugged a lock of his hair. What is your problem? You're civil to everyone else. With me, it's nothing but attitude. Lucas turned his face to the window. His reply, when it came, was quiet and seemingly unrelated. I'm going to live on campus. When school starts. Fine. It's more convenient. The sullen silence returned, thicker than before. Lucas left for Stanford and built a wall of silence. Sebastian, after calculating a fair number, transferred the remainder of the original insurance money into a new account in Lucas's name. The attached message was brief. This was always yours. The door here is always open. The reply was instantaneous and furious. Is this you cutting ties? Don't be dramatic. It's your money. Come home when you want. I'm not coming back. Suit yourself. And he didn't. 2 years passed with only the barest, most necessary contact. The indifference was a constant, low-grade irritation. Sebastian moved to a penthouse overlooking the river, and on impulse, mailed a key to Lucas's campus address. There was no acknowledgement. The night the new analyst, Mia, came to drop off documents, Sebastian was on a call. He gestured for her to answer the door. The voice that followed was laced with a venom so potent it was almost tangible. Who are you? What are you doing in his home? Sebastian ended his call and walked into the foyer. Lucas stood there, his face pale except for 2 spots of high color on his cheeks. The smell of expensive whiskey wafted from him. You're seeing someone. It wasn't a question. His eyes were glassy, red-rimmed. Don't be absurd, Sebastian said, ushering a wide-eyed Mia out with an apology. He turned back to Lucas. She works for me. She brought files. At night? Alone? Lucas swayed slightly, his bravado undermined by his intoxication. Sebastian guided him to the sofa. You reek. And you only remember I exist when you're drunk? You're not my brother, Lucas slurred, a brittle laugh escaping him. You're my guardian, my benefactor. The old, familiar anger sparked. You call me guardian and you're angry. You implied brother and you were angry. What precisely would you like to call me? I don't know. Lucas shouted suddenly, the sound raw. Maybe I should call you boss. Then you could call your girlfriend back and I could give her a welcoming bonus. Sebastian moved swiftly, pinching his cheeks together. One more word and I will physically remove you from this apartment. He helped him to the master bathroom, where Lucas insisted on showering. The process was clumsy, frustrating. Finally, Sebastian simply carried him, dripping, to the bed, tugging one of his own clean shirts over the boy's head. No spare underwear. You'll have to manage. As he turned to leave, a hand fisted painfully in his hair, yanking him backward onto the mattress. He wrestled the hand free, and in the dim light, saw a single tear trace a path from Lucas's temple into his hairline. Did I hurt you? Lucas shook his head, then wrapped his arms around Sebastian's neck, burying his face against his chest. His voice was muffled, broken. "You have no heart. None at all." Sebastian felt a laugh, harsh and disbelieving, rise in his throat. "I have no heart? You vanish for 2 years." Lucas didn't answer. Instead, he began to nuzzle against Sebastian's throat, his lips brushing the sensitive skin over his Adam's apple. Sebastian's breath hitched. He grabbed a handful of damp hair and pushed Lucas's face firmly into the duvet. "Lucas, look at me. Do you know who I am?" Lucas turned his head, his eyes hazy but holding a strange, defiant heat. He smiled, a slow, deliberate curve of his mouth. "I know exactly who you are." Sebastian extricated himself and stood by the bed, lighting a cigarette. He blew the smoke directly into Lucas's face. Lucas coughed, the oversized shirt riding up to expose a pale, vulnerable stretch of his stomach. Sebastian killed the lights, leaving only the city's glow filtering through the blinds. He stood in the darkness, watching the shape on the bed. A hand snaked out, plucked the cigarette from his fingers, and crushed it on the floor. "You should quit. It'll kill you. You're already older than me." Sebastian's laugh was dry. "I'm 7 years older. I'm supposed to die first." The slap came out of the dark, sharp and stinging. Lucas was sitting up now, tears streaming down his face, his expression one of utter devastation. The look was a brand. Sebastian reacted on instinct, his hand closing around Lucas's throat, pushing him back down. He watched the flush spread, the tears flow silently. With a growled curse, he released him, yanking the shirt down and throwing a comforter over him. "Sebastian," Lucas whispered hoarsely, as Sebastian reached the door. "We're the same. You and me. We're not like other people." Sebastian didn't answer. He fled to the guest room, then, hours later, fled the apartment entirely. He stayed away, but he watched. The security feed showed Lucas returning to the penthouse almost every night. He would sit in the living room or pace, or stand for hours on the balcony, a solitary figure against the skyline, as if waiting. He is emotionally invested in you. You are reciprocating this investment. Your avoidance is illogical, the system stated one evening, its tone as analytical as ever. The path is complicated. I could ruin him. I'm supposed to be a guardian. There is no genetic relation. Furthermore, moral constraints are not a defining characteristic of either your or his established archetype. Sebastian smiled faintly in the dark of his temporary office. Fair point. He opened the live feed on his phone. The living room was empty. He panned the camera. A face suddenly filled the screen, eyes staring directly into the lens, as if they could see him through the digital void. Lucas's lips moved silently. Then he spoke aloud, his voice clear through the speaker. "I'm waiting for you to come home." Sebastian returned that night. He found Lucas curled in the center of his bed, shivering under the covers. His skin was fever-hot to the touch. "You're sick." Lucas's eyes fluttered open. "Maybe. If you'd waited another day, you could have just planned a funeral." The diagnosis at the urgent care was a severe chill. The doctor speculated about prolonged exposure. Sebastian understood. The balcony vigils in the autumn wind. "You're an idiot," he said, his voice rough as he settled Lucas back in bed at home with a regimen of medication. "Don't care," Lucas mumbled, burrowing deeper. Sebastian tried to rise to get water, but a hand clutched his sleeve. "Don't go. Please. There's no one else." The words, so simply stated, undid something inside him. A lifetime of calculated moves, and he was defeated by a feverish plea. He let out a long, surrendering breath. "2 lifetimes," he murmured, "and I end up ensnared by you." Lucas's eyes, glassy with fever, sharpened with hope. Sebastian leaned down. The kiss was chaste, a mere press of lips, tasting of medicine and sleep. "We'll discuss terms when you're well." "Okay." The discussion, when it came, was less a negotiation and more a collision. Sebastian spoke of another life, a different kind of battle, a lonely summit reached through ruthlessness. Lucas listened, his arms wrapped tightly around Sebastian's waist, his head resting on his shoulder. "You've had so much pain," Lucas whispered, and the unfamiliar sympathy lodged in Sebastian's throat like a stone. He cleared it, forcing lightness into his tone. "So when I saw you, I thought, I'm not going back." Here was someone shaped by the same corrosive blueprint. And the system said you had no one. Just me. I decided I wanted you to have a different ending. Is it still there? The system? Sebastian conveyed the mental inquiry. It remains operational until narrative conclusion, the system replied. He says you're welcome, Sebastian relayed. Lucas was quiet for a long time. When? He finally asked. When did you know? About this? Sebastian considered. I'm not sure. I always noticed your paleness. It was like a canvas. Lucas smiled against his neck. For me, it was before I finished high school. I gave myself 2 years away to be sure. It didn't help. It made it worse. The thought of you with someone else, it made me want to destroy everything. That, Sebastian said, brushing his lips over Lucas's temple, is a very antagonist-like thought. And you? If I were with someone else? Sebastian's hold tightened almost imperceptibly. I would wish you happiness. Until I couldn't bear it anymore. Then I would find you. And I would make it so you could never leave. Lucas's laugh was a warm puff of air. See? We're a perfect match. On Lucas's 21st birthday, the house was quiet. He called Sebastian to their bedroom. The scene was meticulously arranged. Low music, soft lighting, an array of items on the bed that spoke of ambitious, if inexperienced, plans. Lucas looked up at him, a mixture of challenge and anticipation in his gaze. My turn. Your turn for what, exactly? To take the lead. Sebastian felt a rush of heat and amusement. Are you certain? Very. Lucas produced a length of dark silk. Trust me. Sebastian allowed himself to be guided onto the bed, the silk tied loosely over his eyes. He listened to the rustling, the fumbling. His patience, always finite, wore thin. The silk had slipped. He could see the key to the novelty handcuffs resting innocently on the nightstand. With a quick, practiced motion, he freed one hand, then the other. In a fluid movement, he reversed their positions, using the silk to blindfold Lucas instead. A gasp. Sebastian. It's my birthday. It is, Sebastian agreed, his voice a low murmur against Lucas's ear as he settled over him. Which is precisely why you should relax and let me do the work. You have the enthusiasm, my love, but not the practical knowledge. Yet, later, when the music had faded and the room was dark, Sebastian held him close, their skin cooling. He pressed his lips to Lucas's sweat-damp hair. Happy birthday, Lucas. A sleepy, satiated hum was the only reply. Sebastian spoke again, the words quiet but clear in the intimate dark. I love you.